Coaching in Session.
Your exclusive destination for unparalleled personal and professional growth.
With your host, Michael Rearden.
Whether you choose to live within limits or break free, your mindset journey begins here.
When I first started off with schooling and just being a kid, one of the things I did, which I thought was always kind of weird, was when you were reading a book, for example, you would get to the end of the chapter and then you get into a new chapter. But before you get into the new chapter, you think about what happened in the last chapter. Not curious about, I wonder what's going to happen. Of course, as time evolved and as I matured, I said, I'm interested in to see what's next. What's next in the book? I already know what had happened. I had read it. But when I was younger, it was like I wanted to go a lot slower. The chapters before might have got my most attention. And then, of course, when you get to the end of the book, you think about the book for a while. You reminisce on the time that you spent with it. What if we said that that book was 1 year of your life? Maybe that book was this year that is already gone. Well, some people say that with each year, there's a new chapter that's going to be coming into your story. But then I think we might be looking back at this past chapter of our life. We might be looking at the things that didn't go good. We might be looking at the things that went really good. But there's going to be a good amount of people who are optimistic for the next chapter. What's to come? How many people say, new year, new me, or this year is going to be my best year yet? Yet, when they look back at the year, they look back with disdain. They don't look back at the year and say, whoa, that was the best year yet. And we have to wonder why this mindset is happening year after year. Well, the good news is we have this blog here, Designing Your Next Chapter, Crafting a Vision for the Year Ahead. In this article, I'll be helping you understand how to not only reflect on the past year, but for the new year to create a vision and to be more clear and more precise, where you won't just allow this year to pass you by. This year can be different, but you have to change. And with change, it's going to cause the mind to rebel against you. It's like you will find every little problem with what you're trying to do. Oh, it's too cold outside. Oh, it's a little bit too windy. Oh, I don't like how that person looked at me, so let me not go there. Before you know it, you have all of these limitations in your mind because of what you can't do, because of what you said is happening. Well, it doesn't matter if it's raining. It doesn't matter if someone's watching. It doesn't matter if no one's watching. What matters is, are you doing what you want to do or what you need to do? So we all have resolutions, or we have this idea for what we want this year to be. Typically around this time, it's a natural mindset to have. The mind just naturally loves something new. For example, you buy a home, right? You buy a home and you're like, whoa, you know what will be really good in this home? A table there, or a sofa here, or a plant there. I can't tell you how many times, like if I were to get a new apartment or to get a new home, I'm over here buying things that I would never thought I would get. Of course, maybe go to IKEA, it's not too much. The reality is I am trying to fill in the spaces that look blank. And what happens is sometimes when you have too much free time in your life, or you have too much time that needs to be focused where you want to procrastinate rather than focus, you do the things that are going to be less desirable, or rather more desirable, but less profitable, or maybe less meaningful or less purposeful. Those things are going to be, again, on your phone, maybe on the sofa, not going to the gym, not showing up. All of these things are a factor in your life because you are allowing them to be a factor in your life. Look back at the last 6 months, 2025, right? In that last 6 months, I was like a wreck. And you have to ask yourself, Michael, how are you a wreck? You're supposed to be a mindset coach. And I go, yeah, great. Yeah, you know, my mindset was good. It was nice and strong. But I hold myself to a very high regard. Because if I don't show up, you might see me like, oh my God, Michael, I don't know how you do it. Michael, what are you doing? Like, tell me your secrets. And my secret is sometimes I just keep doing it. Right? I just don't give up. I'm just persistent. But with persistence, you have to have something else with it. Because if you just kind of keep on going, but you're not moving in the right direction, are you really just keep on going for the good reasons of going? I think of what we need in order for us to truly make a year a good year. We need two things. Number one is vision. And then the second one is clarity. Vision is easy, I think, in the terms of what do you want for yourself? Maybe you want a better job, a better career, a better relationship, a better body, whatever, right? A better mind. All of these things are wonderful things, right? I want you to have these things. It is easy to dream them. It is easy to think about them. There's no action when you have a vision. You don't have to have a vision. But now, if you want to make that vision a reality, now that's where the action needs to be there. Well, what happens with our vision is that we get less clear on that vision. We start to compromise our vision. We start to say, you know what? Maybe not today. We'll try again later. Well, going back to my past 6 months, and it was like June or like May or June, I hurt my shoulder or like my arm, right? And I just couldn't lift anything in the gym with my right arm. My left arm was fine, but my right arm was if I moved it a certain way, crazy pain. And I'm thinking in my mind, oh man, all right, I guess I have to be more careful when I sleep or when I go work out. And sure enough, it took me almost 4 months to recover. And I'm like, great, I recovered. Awesome. Let's pick up where I left off, right? Let's do what I have to do. Because I was doing what I was doing as the bare minimum, but it wasn't enough, right? In my mind, I even knew. I was like, wait, something is not right. I'm getting behind. I'm falling behind. And then so as soon as the 4 months came, I had 2 strong weeks. I was like, I'm back, right? And all of a sudden, boom, yo-yo flu. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So now I'm sick and I'm like, okay, I'm sick. I'm recovering. What kind of nonsense is this? So sure enough, I recover. And then not even that much longer, tweak my neck, right? Man, I had to go to the chiropractor. I had to do all of these things. And I'm like, what is going on with me? It's not that my body is falling apart. It's that my mind wasn't clear. Because if my mind was clear, it would do what needed to be done. There was too many distractions. And even I tell myself sometimes at night when I look back at my day, I go, today wasn't as productive as it could have been. Why, right? Why? I think about how I'm spending time with my children. I love my children, right? But in my mind, in the back of my mind, it's like I have this drive, right? Think of it as an entrepreneurial drive. I just have this drive of I want to do this. I want to do that. But then I also want to spend time with my kids. And so I'm fighting with this concept of I want to do great things in the business and to help as many people in the world. But then I also want to be a father that is there for their children to see what it is to grow up as a child. The issue is not so much that I can't do both. It's just that I feel as if I do one, I can't do the other. Now, of course, I can do both. I am doing both. But when I say that, it means, can I give all my heart to it? Because if you think about it, can you love two people? So, for example, right, if you're married, right, and you are just in America, you're not living in a country where you have multiple wives, you get married one time. You're only allowed to get married once. So you have your wife. Now, of course, it might seem nice to say, you know what? I'm going to have some other relationships on the side because sometimes my spouse is going to annoy me. So I have to have someone else, right? Of course, this is the mindset of the modern. But the reality is most people who go into marriage today, especially in America, it is them together, one and one. But not okay, three's company, four's a crowd. Let's keep on bringing people in. It's, hey, it's you and me against the world, working together. But let's say you felt I just want to love someone else. So you might be loving them 100%, and then you want to get someone else to love them 100%. Let me share with you the reality. Another person you can't love 100% unless they're your children, because there's going to be a condition that is going to be placed there. Because let's play devil's advocate, for example. Let's say that person developed a illness and they're bedridden and you had to take care of them. Okay. Do you want to sacrifice your life in order to take care of them? Now, of course, if you really love this person, you had your vows and you say, until death do you part, sure, right? That makes sense. But in the sense of, wait, I can just go somewhere else. Like I can go with my other guy more, or I go with my other girl more, and I don't have to deal with all this drama and all this nonsense. And of course, we don't want to be thinking in this mindset for the long term. But the reality is our mind thinks that way because it's easier to say, hey, let's run. Hey, let's get something new if something else is broken. So we are in the mindset of not fixing things when they're broken or not adjusting when things need to be adjusted. I think of like people who lease cars, right? People who lease cars, there's nothing wrong with leasing a car. You can have a car every 2 years or 3 years. And the idea of leasing a car is nice because you always get a new car and you are going to stay up to date with the latest trends and gadgets. But the cars, especially lately, they're very much like cell phones. They just have incremental increases. Maybe they make the driving sensors a little bit better. Maybe they fix the suspension to have a smoother ride. And all of these things, to be honest, are so minute where you shouldn't even need to buy a new car. But then again, the allure to have something brand new and shiny, you think about what is going to make you feel good for right now, than rather what's going to make you feel good for the long term. This is where now we have to look at the clarity aspects in our article here, because when we are trying to be very clear with our visions, right? What we want for ourselves, what we want for our life, the clarity aspect is going to be giving you this magic word or magic pill. They're going to say, does this make sense? Does this make sense to do this? Because if I would lease a car, right? And I would lease a car for about 10 years or 15 years or something like that. If it's 15 years, it's a lot more. But you would basically be spending something like $150,000 when you could have just purchased a car and then had no payments on the car, and then you would make about $150,000, right? Now, of course, this is going to be with many factors working for you. It's not going to be just, all right, yeah, I'm not going to lease a car and I'm going to save $150,000. You might be making even more through the compound interest, because if you take that money and invest it instead of putting it into a car for a dealership or whatever, then you're going to be making progress toward you. When you lease a car, the dealerships are making progress to a better pocket or a better year. But then again, it's so shiny, right? Michael, come on, it's so shiny. Like, I just don't want to deal with maintenance on the car. I just don't want to deal with like all the upkeep. And maybe that's the beauty of life. Maybe that maintenance is the beauty of life. That vision that you had of having a nice car. Maybe when you get clear on making sure that car runs every single day, maybe your life will run every single day smoothly. When I first got my car, I had a Honda Accord 2006. I kept that baby until 2021 or something like that. And this car I love, right? I love this car. I would vacuum it every single week, and I would make sure it was clean and it was fresh oil. Like, I did everything to make sure that this car would run, would last. Well, guess what? God had some different plans for me, I guess, because when I was out on business one day, I was like in South Texas somewhere, and I had left my car. I had got a rental car. So I left my car out in the driveway, and sure enough, a hailstorm came and dented up my car real nice. Okay. So it looked like a cow, sort of, but the car was blue. But either way, it was like gray. It's like grayish blue. And the windows didn't break or anything. That's the Honda for you, right? And it was a wonderful thing that the windows didn't break. And I was like, okay, I can still drive the car around. And I'm driving the car around. And then I was like, you know what? Let me report this to my insurance. And insurance is like, oh, it's like oh man, like it's going to cost so much money, boo hoo. And I'm spending so much money on my car insurance. This is a different side note right here, but it's just the reality of you're just doing what you have to do. And then when someone else has to show up, they're like, oh, Jesus, now I have to show up. Well, either way. So they show up, right? And they're like, oh, this was a natural disaster or something. Like they made up a big word to make it seem so scary. And I went to this place because they had to build a pop-up tent because they didn't have enough agents to come out to you. So I had to go to a pop-up tent in Round Rock, Texas. And it was like in the Walmart parking lot. So I would drive up and then they would inspect the car. And they basically said, well, your car is so old and the damages are going to be relative to what the car is worth. So we're going to total your car. And mind you, the car was, a good car. Of course, it was having some alternator issues and some catalytic converter issues toward the end, but I still would have been able to pass all of the inspections and I would have been able to get to work and I could have easily fixed the alternator for $200 or $150 if I, do it myself. So it was not a big deal for me to fix the car for pennies on the dollar. But then I said, what's the point in fighting this insurance company? Because they were basically saying, we want your car, like you have to give up your car, right? Because the insurance and you put in a claim and they were super forceful about it. Like they kept calling me about it. So I was just like, okay, fine, take the car. And I remember on the day I gave them the car, the catalytic converter went out again. So I was like, I changed it once and it was like a year and a half later. Then it started giving me some more issues. And then I was like, okay, cool. I was like, I guess I'll get a new one. But then I was just like, but it's just too much work. So they just came and took the car. I got a new car, a brand new Honda Accord. And I said, I'm just going to start fresh. But then I said, like, I am in a strange place, or not in a really strange place, but I'm in a place where this car, I know I'm going to outgrow very quickly. And so I had got the Honda Accord. I was still single, I believe, or like dating and stuff like that. And then I said I got married and then I had kids with this car and then putting the kids in the Honda Accord, it wasn't ideal. So I was just like, you know what? I need a car that I can put the kids in easier. I'm super tall. So I don't want to be bending down to put the kids in the Honda Accord. So I said, okay, let's get a CRV or a Pilot or something along those lines where it's a little bit bigger, where I don't have to break my back in order to put the kids in the car. So I say, okay, well, let me lease the car because maybe I want to get a bigger car in 2 years or in 3 years. And so I started that chain, but I only started it once because it was me knowing that there was going to be a transition. We know there's going to be a transition in our life. We know something is going to happen. Something could possibly happen. Of course, there's going to be things that are going to be unexpected and we have to adjust when they happen. But for the most part, people can plan out their year and how it's going to go. Because if you look back at the past 5 years of your life, for example, heck, maybe even 10 years, you can look at how your years are situated. Of course, if you're in school, you have to understand that your school years are going to be relatively the same. But then the moment you start to leave school and then go into a career, now you're starting a new flow that you have to understand for yourself. So this flow, you're going to be trying to figure out, okay, what am I going to be doing? Where am I going to be living? This is the vision. Okay. Now, what happens is the clarity aspect to what you want to do eventually gets drowned out to what you are doing. Most people, they get busy with work and they say, oh, I can't do something because I'm busy with work. Oh, I will love to do this, but I'm so tired because of work. Or I'm not available because I'm so bogged down with work, right? There's so many excuses that work can bring. And sometimes when I think about me going back to what I said earlier, I have work and then I have a family. And so even though I have this mindset for happy family, this vision for a happy family, right? I have to get clear on what I need to do every single day. So it doesn't matter if you are a family person or you're an entrepreneur or you're just a person who's kind of cruising through life. If you give yourself this idea of a vision and then getting clear on that vision for the year, you're going to be more pronounced in making sure that that vision becomes a reality. That clarity doesn't just happen overnight. It takes some time. In this article, we talk a little bit about how you can bridge this idea from your vision and then helping it become reality, right? And it's just this idea of growth, right? Right now, you might not be where you want to be. I understand that. For me, the past 6 months, literally the past 6 months have been me either recovering or me going to the doctors to try to get better. And then so I do these things saying, what? This is going to make me do things. And I know me very well. For example, I got a membership at Crunch Fitness. I'm not sure if anyone knows Crunch Fitness, but Crunch Fitness is like, I guess, a new hip gym. Like all the kids go there. So I get this membership and I get the highest one because I was like, okay, well, I have kids. I can bring them to Kids Crunch. I don't really care about the classes. I can work on myself. And then I was just thinking, okay, I can use the massage room and stuff. And I was just like, all of this is just too much. Like, I just want to work out. And then I separated myself from all the people in the gym because the gym is kind of a weird layout. Like, I don't really like the layout. I used to go to LA Fitness. I prefer LA Fitness more than Crunch Fitness. Just so people know, don't buy stocks in Crunch Fitness, buy stocks in LA Fitness. But the problem with LA Fitness is that their marketing and their franchises are just a mess right now. So it's probably not even a good idea to invest in there. And then to invest in a home gym, that right there is going to be one of the worst investments because you're not going to get your return on it. So it's like, what do you do? And I was just thinking, well, if I were to just get a gym myself, right? And I started to think back during the pandemic and how many people during the pandemic, they were like, all right, I'm going to go get a gym, and they get this home gym and they get all these weights and then they start working out. And then somewhere down the road, they just kind of get comfortable. They spend all this money on weights and equipment and it just sits there. I remember LA Fitness had closed down because of the lockdowns for, I don't know, something like 3 months or something, maybe even longer. It was so long ago that I forget the little details. Luckily for me, I have clients that have home gyms, like big gyms. So I was like, I'm going to go use their gym. And they're like, come on, use the gym. They love it. Because in their minds, they're getting their money's worth, right? If they have people that they like to use the gym, they're like, I know I'm not going to use it every single moment. So I would rather someone else use it so it gets its worth, right? So how can it get its worth? Or how can that gym get its worth? So I was like, okay, later in the future, do I want a home gym? The more I think about it, the more I'm just going to get a home gym. Just like my clients have their home gyms, they can go in and they can work out. They can do every layout they want to the gym. They can get all the machines that they like because you don't need 100,000 machines in order to get a good workout. Then again, we think that we have to even get a gym membership to get a good workout or to get the body or to create the vision for ourselves because we have to sculpt ourselves into someone that we're interested in. Well, I say that as much as I would love for people just to run out there and to get gym memberships and spend all that money and to do all of these things that might shock the system, I encourage you to pay attention, to pay close attention to everything that's happening because you might not see it unless you pay close attention. Very similar to the car and the lease, very similar to looking at your last chapter and then moving into the next chapter. Or are you reminiscing? Are you being nostalgic and you're saying, whoa, like last year was so good or so great. How can I show up again? Or last year was so hard. I don't want to do that again. All of these feelings and thoughts that are going through your mind are going to create a mindset for this year coming up. And the thing that I want you to do right now is you don't have to do it with me, but you can do it for yourself is you just get a piece of paper. And on that paper, I want you to, of course, read this article, Designing Your Next Chapter, Crafting a Vision for Your Year Ahead. And I want you just to put 2 sections, right? Vision and clarity, right? Just put, so vision in one column, clarity in the other. Now, your vision for the year, you just can put it like, like one vision for the year. And you just put, I want to be this, or I want to do this, or I'm already doing this, which is even more powerful. And all of these little like tricks to help the mind do things or great, but however you want to write your vision, that's you. Now, the clarity part, this is where you have to give yourself a step-by-step guide, essentially, on what you want to feel, what you want done. Okay. And then, so feeling in the beginning is like, I want to feel happy. I want to feel comfortable in my skin. Well, you have to get detailed, because what does happiness mean in your life? Like, you got a cheeseburger today, so you're doing a little dance. Like, I got a cheeseburger and I'm like in a good mood. And I got some fries and a milkshake. I'm in a good mood. Sure, right? That's going to make you happy for a moment, but it's not going to help you long term. So the vision is the long term aspect. Clarity is going to be the steps to help you get there. And so you need to construct a series of steps that are going to help your vision become real. Now, if you, for some reason, do not get your vision to become real this year or within the next couple of months or weeks, I encourage you to reach out to us, revenconcepts.com. We do this. We specialize with this idea of helping people not only realize what they want, but how to get it. So this idea of your next chapter in your life, it could be good. It could be a filler. It could be something you never thought could happen. Maybe good, maybe bad. But then again, just how like my car was breaking down toward the end, I didn't just hate my car simply because my car was breaking. My dog is getting old. I don't simply hate my dog because she can't play as much as she used to. I'm not going to just throw my wife away because maybe she has a couple more wrinkles on her face. No, that doesn't matter to me. The idea, the inception of something that you're doing, can you see it through? No matter what, you're going to have trials. You're going to have some challenges along the way. My last 6 months have been nothing but trials and challenges. Sometimes I wonder how I even made it. I always tell my wife, it's like, I don't know if I'm going to make it. And then, she would just roll her eyes at me. And I'm like, well, we'll see. But then in the back of my mind was a voice saying, not yet. And not yet. Very similar to that scene in Gladiator when his friend was burying his figures of, I believe, like the horses or the like his family. And he was like saying goodbye to his friend. But he would say that I'll see you again. I'll see you soon, but not yet. So this not yet aspect was me saying that I'm not done yet. There's still more for me to do. There's still more for you to do. Sometimes you just have to understand what you want to do and be clear on how to get it. It's not going to be as simple as, all right, this is what I want and this is what I'm going to do. Because how many times have you tried that in your life and it hasn't been successful? The mind needs something more. It needs a shock. It needs a jolt. It needs a new mindset. So again, check out this article, Designing Your Next Chapter, Crafting a Vision for Next Year Ahead. It's going to give you so many tips and tricks on how you can adjust your vision, how you can be more clear, and how you can focus your mind to growth. Of course, this article is going to only work if you work. Now, some people need to have that accountability. Some people, they need to have that person in their corner saying, hey, I want you to help me along the way. And it's just so funny because like I can do a lot of things myself. For example, fitness. As I said, I got a new gym membership at Crunch and I just don't like it. I'm going to change it eventually. I don't know where I'm going to go, but I'm not going there long term. But either way, the guys there, like the trainers and stuff like that, it's just like, I'm not even impressed. I'm more impressed with the LA trainers than I am with these people here. Of course, they have all their new fancy gadgets and technology, and they could do all these body scans, and it seems so futuristic. But I'm realistic. Sometimes you can learn from the new guy in the block, and sometimes you need to sit down and listen to Grandpa because Grandpa might have a couple of stories that might seem far-fetched, but those stories are filled with wisdom. Every single year that I progress through this life, I learn a little bit more about myself. I learn a lot more about people. and I see what works, what doesn't work. Just by compiling a list of data, I can say, hey, if we do this together, if we do this with a mindset that is going to invigorate us not only for a couple of weeks or months, but for the entire year, what is that going to do for our life? It's going to change everything. So yeah, this next chapter can be amazing. It could be the best one yet. And then you're going to have to top it off in the sense of, wow, that chapter was so good. What am I going to do next? And that is the beauty of life. It's always going to be about the next step. Of course, we can savor and we can relish in what we have done, but we have so much more journey to go in our life. Of course, do not belittle how far you have come. Be excited for all the journey that you have left in your life.